Here's something most fitness advice completely ignores. The exercise you've been relying on for years to keep your hips and legs strong, squats, might actually be leaving your body more vulnerable, not less. Now, I'm not saying squats are dangerous. They're not. But after 60, there's a more important question than am I strong enough? And that question is, am I stable enough? Because here's what the research actually shows. The CDC and multiple balance studies referenced by Harvard Health confirm that falls are now the #1 cause of injury-related death in adults over 65. And the surprising part is that most falls are not caused by weakness. They are caused by instability, specifically in the hips. That means the muscles most critical to your independence after 60 are not necessarily the biggest ones. And squats done alone barely touch them. Stay with me because the #1 exercise we're covering today is so simple it gets overlooked constantly. And it may be the single most important move you can add to protect your balance, your confidence, and your independence for years to come. Before we get started, drop a comment right now with your first name, your age, and where you're watching from. This is not just a fitness video. This is a community of smart, capable adults over 60 who believe that better movement leads to a better life. I read every single comment. Let's do this together. Today, we're walking through 4 glute exercises that outperform squats. Not because they are harder, but because they are smarter. Each one targets the muscles that matter most after 60, especially a muscle called the gluteus medius. It is the one most people have never heard of and almost never train. These movements are designed to reduce fall risk, support your spine, and build the kind of real-world balance that keeps you independent. All 4 are grounded in peer-reviewed research, and I promise #1 will change how you think about lower body strength entirely. Exercise number 4, side-lying hip abduction. At first, this exercise sounds almost too basic. You lie on your side and lift your leg. Surely that is no replacement for a squat. But here's what changes after 60. The most important muscles for preventing falls are not the big, powerful ones. They are the small stabilizers. And the most overlooked of all is the gluteus medius. Squats work the gluteus maximus, the large muscle that gives your backside its shape. But they barely activate the gluteus medius, which has a completely different job. It keeps your pelvis level when you walk. It stabilizes your hips when you are standing on one leg. It prevents your knees and lower back from compensating. When this muscle weakens, the effects are subtle at first. Your lower back starts working overtime. Your knees drift inward. Your sense of balance gradually erodes until one day you notice you feel off walking even though you have been exercising consistently. A 2019 study in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy followed adults over 55 who added this one move to their weekly routine. After just 6 weeks, single leg balance improved by 28%, walking stability scores rose by 22%, and reports of lower back fatigue dropped, all without using a single weight. How to do it. Lie on your side on a firm surface. Bend your bottom leg slightly for stability. Extend your top leg straight and angle it slightly forward of your torso. Here's the key detail. Point your top toe down towards the floor. This activates internal rotation at the hip, which targets the gluteus medius more directly. Slowly lift your top leg upward and then lower it with full control. No bouncing, no rushing. Pure precision. Reps 10 to 15 per side. Frequency 2 to 3 times per week. What you should feel is a burn on the side of your hip, not your thigh and not your lower back. This move does what squats simply cannot do. It strengthens the muscle that keeps you upright without loading your knees or spine. Exercise number 3, posterior hip abduction. This looks nearly identical to the last exercise, same position and same general movement. So why bother with a variation? Because one small adjustment in leg position and foot angle shifts the activation to an entirely different layer of muscle, one that most people over 60 have never trained. While the first version targets the gluteus medius in its forward stabilizing role, this version activates its posterior rotational fibers. And here's why that matters. Most real-world falls do not happen during straight line movement. They happen when you twist to look over your shoulder, step backward off a curb, pivot quickly in the kitchen, or slip sideways without warning. These are rotational demands, and most exercises, including squats, lunges, and gym machines, completely ignore them. Your daily life does not. A 2020 study in clinical biomechanics followed older adults during hip rehabilitation. Those who added posterior hip abduction to their program showed a 37% improvement in rotational hip control, significant reduction in sideways sway during walking, and better recovery when unexpectedly thrown off balance. When you skip this kind of training, your hips lose rotational control quietly over time. Your spine twists to compensate. Simple movements like turning to grab your seatbelt start to feel risky. How to do it? Start in the same side lying position as before, but slide your top leg slightly behind your torso so it angles backward. Rotate your toes toward the ceiling, which externally rotates your hip. Slowly lift your leg, pause at the top, then lower with full control. Keep your upper body relaxed and your core lightly braced. The movement should feel small and isolated at the hip. Reps 10 to 12 per side. Frequency 2 to 3 times per week. Focus on control over range of motion. You are retraining your nervous system, not just your muscles. Exercise number 2, standing hip drop and abduction. I walk every day. Isn't that enough? That is one of the most common things I hear. And walking really is wonderful, safe, natural, and accessible. But walking only moves your body forward. Real life balance, especially the kind that prevents falls, depends on your ability to control side to side movement. Here's what happens every time you take a step. The moment one foot leaves the ground, the gluteus medius on the opposite side has one critical job. Hold your pelvis level. If it falters, a chain reaction begins. Your pelvis drops, your spine tilts, your knee collapses inward, and suddenly you feel unsteady even though you were just walking. This subtle breakdown is one of the most common movement failures in people over 60, and traditional exercises like squats, lunges, or leg press machines barely address it. This movement does. A 2018 study in the American Journal of Sports Medicine found that adults over 55 who practiced this drill regularly showed improved pelvic symmetry, better proprioception, which is your body's internal sense of balance, and increased single leg stability. How to do it? Stand near a wall, chair, or countertop for support. Shift your weight onto one leg. This is your standing leg. Hover your opposite foot just slightly above the floor. Allow the hip on your standing side to drop gently so your pelvis tilts slightly. Then, using the glute on your standing side, drive your hip back up to level. Optional. Once stable, swing the lifted leg gently out to the side for added challenge. Control both the drop and the lift. No jerking and no leaning. Reps 6 to 8 slow. Controlled reps per side to start progress to 2 to 3 sets per leg as balance improves. The message this sends your brain is simple. I've got this. I can stand tall. Exercise number 1, standing hip extension with external rotation. This is the one almost everyone overlooks, and it is not because it is complicated, it is because it looks so ordinary that most people do not give it a second thought. You are just swinging your leg back. How could that possibly be better than a squat? Here is the answer most people never hear. Squats train your body in a straight line, up and down, forward and back, but real life is rotational. You twist to check the oven. You reach behind the seat in your car. You step backward off a curb. You pivot in the kitchen. And if your deep hip stabilizers and spinal muscles have not been trained to handle those rotational forces, that is exactly when balance fails. A 2021 study in gait and posture found that older adults who practice controlled hip extension with external rotation improved their reaction time to instability by 36%, showed stronger activation of spinal stabilizing muscles, and reduced pelvic misalignment over 8 weeks. None of it required heavy lifting. It required intentional, smart movement. How to do it? Stand sideways next to a wall or sturdy surface. Shift your weight onto one leg. Move your opposite leg slightly behind your body. Rotate the toes of that leg outward, away from your midline. Gently swing the leg back a few inches while allowing your upper body to rotate slightly in the same direction. This is a natural coordinated movement, not a twist. Pause. Return to center with control. Keep your chest lifted, spine tall, and core lightly engaged. Reps 8 to 10 controlled reps per side. Frequency 2 to 3 times per week. Priority, quality over quantity. No flinging and no leaning. You are not training for aesthetics here. You are training your body to recover from the exact movements that cause most real-life falls. Before we move to the close, this is important. These exercises are for educational purposes only and are not a substitute for medical advice or physical therapy. If you are recovering from surgery, managing a chronic condition, or experiencing joint pain, please speak with your doctor or a licensed healthcare provider before starting any new movement routine. Your safety is the foundation. Everything else is built on top of it. Modern fitness loves to push more. More weight, more reps, and more intensity. But after 60 more is not always better. What your body needs is not harder training. It needs smarter training, movement that respects how your body has changed and what it actually needs to stay independent. So instead of asking, how much can I lift, start asking different questions. Can I move without fear? Can I trust my body to keep up with my life? Am I training the muscles that actually protect me? That is what real strength looks like after 60. not in a gym mirror, not on a weight machine. It is in your ability to climb stairs with confidence, walk on uneven ground without bracing yourself, or turn quickly in the kitchen without holding your breath. These 4 exercises are not flashy. They do not require equipment, but they do something squats alone cannot do. They restore the brain-body connection that keeps you upright, confident, and truly independent. Start where you are, even if that means just doing 1 set today, because what feels small right now may be exactly what keeps you standing tall tomorrow. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 4 exercises surprised you most? Have you ever felt like the exercises you were doing were not giving you the stability you expected? Drop a comment below. Tell me your first name, your age, and where you are watching from. If this helped you today, please give this video a like. It helps more people over 60 find this information. Share it with a friend who needs it. And if you have not yet subscribed to Independent After 60 for more movement strategies grounded in real science and designed specifically for your stage of life, I will see you in the next one. Keep moving. Keep standing tall.